One of the most precious things about this rabbit hole business. There's got to be a name for this. Somebody's got to know what this is. I don't know. I haven't ever read about it. I don't know. I've done some reading. I don't know. I gotta find out what it is. But anyway, don't matter. It really don't matter. A rabbit hole's good enough. I don't think you'll come up with a better word than a rabbit hole, I'll tell you that. It's exactly like that. So one of the most touching and beautiful features about the whole thing, the first thing that happens is this is a two-man thing, man. I don't think this happens to people on an individual level. Something else going to happen on an individual level. There's something else that happened which would approximate this, but it's just a little different. You gauge your brains out and you're going for a little trip, buddy. And I've done that. I've done this a million times as a soul realizer. Just a one-man band. I've done this kind of shit ad nauseum, but this is just a little bit different. It's just a tiny bit different. I've never done it's different when you're by yourself and gaze and you do stuff, but it's not quite like this. It's different, but it's in the ballpark. I get nauseous by myself, but there's nobody to look around and say, holy shit, guess where we're going, honey? Guess where we're going tonight, honey? Got any plans that you need to cancel? It's just real funny when you get nauseous. I didn't get nauseous quite the same way, but close enough. I get nauseous the other way. Plenty of nausea. But you get this nausea, but it's different when there's two of you and you're in it together somehow. I don't know why. My friend Ariel was not as much into this as I was. I'm all in. And she's planning her escape. She's plotting how she's getting the fuck out of this crazy thing. She's planning her escape. And I would say, I don't know, just the way you told them, was everything. But somehow I would give her the news that I was getting nauseous, which meant that she would soon be getting nauseous too. And the two of us were going to go through this rabbit hole thing, which is just this Alice in Wonderland type journey through. It was just a purification process of purifying you from thinking you knew anything about anything. It was to kind of change your view of reality. What you thought reality was like this, and then here we go. You find out it's something a little different, and you couldn't do anything about it. You just went in this hole together, and you went through this thing, and your ego was fucking shot. You couldn't find any ego. You didn't have time to look for it. It was just gone. And then you go through this thing, and it's not all nausea, nausea is just the beginning, but I don't know how to describe it. It's just a spiritual journey. But you're in it together, man. You're totally in it together. In no way you would want to be apart. That would be insane to try to be apart. I don't know. You'd just be afraid. As long as you're together, the That's all you got to hold on to in a way. It's just the fact that you're doing it together and you're in it together. It's really a bonding thing. You develop total trust in that person. I had total trust in her because she could handle shit, you know. She never lost her shit over nothing. Nothing ever really made her lose her shit. I mean, she found a way to lose her shit, but it, you know, it's completely different. She found a way to back out of the whole thing and regard me as an asshole and get rid of me, you know. She did, but she never freaked out, you know. That's all you gotta know is don't freak out. That's all you gotta know in this whole fucking business is don't freak out. Whatever you do, don't freak out. There's nothing else to know. Your ground is gonna be totally ripped out from under you. But it kind of in gentle ways. Usually it's in gentle ways, you know. Not always gentle ways, but well, no matter what it is, don't freak out. And then you just go straight through it. Everything you just go straight through. And as long as you don't freak out, you know, and kill yourself, you're going to be fine, you know, or, you know, do bad things to other people or any, you know, just don't freak out. It's not that kind of situation. It's the opposite of that. You just join great peace with great nuttiness. Talopa says, tomorrow we visit a freak show. Many one-eyed people. A lame man who can walk. A blind man who can see. A deaf man who can hear. A corpse fanning itself. These are the similes of the unoriginated. There's this unoriginated thing behind the whole damn thing. It's all just a magic show. You just don't freak out. Get up the next morning, now we go visit a freak show. Your only point is don't freak out when you see some weird shit out there. That's it. You just go straight through. You discover this amazing peace, which applies to everything. The peace don't just apply to when you got a lot of peace in your pocket. The peace really applies is when the chaos is the same as the peace. The chaos is the same as the peace. Vipassana is the same as shamatha. They're just two sides of one thing. They're just two sides of one thing. You gotta mix them up together to form this union of appearances like shamatha. Emptiness is like Vipassana. We just constantly mix shamatha and Vipassana. We constantly mix appearance and emptiness, and we become less stupid. We become less stupid. And there's no fucking ego that's gonna be the savior of any of this shit. You're done for when the ego is gone. But there's no reason to freak out. There's no reason to freak out. That's the good news. The good news is the ego is shut. And there's appearance and emptiness, and you just get it and get the tone. And your whole life is just a matter of tuning into that tone. That's it. Nothing else to do. Just tune in to the tone. And don't freak out. There's no problem. Never a problem. Never has been a problem. Never will be a problem. Couldn't be a problem. You're fucking in charge of everything. How could there be a problem? You don't think you're in charge because You're not exactly in charge, but reality's in charge. If you become reality, you're in charge. Reality's in charge. If you surrender to reality, it's not like being in charge exactly, but you're one with it. It ain't going against you. And then you learn that you are a co-creator. You're a co-creator of that reality. You just trust that reality. You don't think of yourself as anything but that reality, and you become a co-creator along with that reality. And neither one of you is an ego or so far from it, or a reference point. There's no reference point. There's no reference point. Karmamudra says it's like putting lipstick on space. It's like being a grain of sand. You're just a grain of sand. You're nobody. How I fucked up. I fucked up with Ariel. I just should have let her. I should have given her so much space. You know, but I just was always like a bully. I was just always I was always wanting her to do what I wanted her to do. I should have just fucking gave the man up. I was so wrong of me. And I just kept putting pressure on her, and that's just the one thing she could not. She had some bad husbands. I think she had kind of bullied as a child, you know. She just didn't want to be bullied. She didn't want to be yelled at. I never yelled at her. Then I yelled at her, and that was it. She never spoke to me again. I got in her face and yelled at her, and that was it. She never spoke to me again. But I should never have done that. But I'm an asshole. I'm like that. But I gotta learn, you know, the best way to learn is to get a great woman like that. Don't be an asshole.